Hello, anyone. I'm Kayla, 35 years old. I want to share a story about an event that unfolded and how I navigated through it swiftly. Unlike many tales shared here, my story involves a rather positive start with my mother-in-law, which might come as a surprise to many. We had a harmonious relationship filled with kindness, understanding, and respect. My husband, Gary, was my soulmate, my partner in all adventures, and my closest confidant. Everything seemed absolutely perfect from my perspective. It's important to note that this isn't about me overlooking potential problems or ignoring warning signs. Sure, like any family, we had our disagreements, but nothing that hinted at the chaos that was about to ensue. The surprise and confusion I felt when everything unfolded are hard to put into words. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what happened and why I felt compelled to react the way I did, by seeking revenge on my husband and my mother-in-law for their actions. Here's the background. I had organized a special family vacation. Initially, it was just meant to be a getaway for Gary and me. But then I thought of Janice, my mother-in-law, who had been widowed for 3 years. Imagining how lonely she might feel, I decided to extend the invite to her, hoping to make it an unforgettable trip for all of us. The plan was to explore Italy, immerse ourselves in the rich culture of Naples, enjoy the delicious meze, and soak up the sun along the Mediterranean. I was thrilled about creating beautiful memories together and further strengthening our bonds. I took care of all the major arrangements, covering the costs of our stay, meals, and planned activities, with Gary and Janice chipping in for extras as they wished. My vision was to gift us a once-in-a-lifetime experience in Italy, from staying in a charming boutique hotel with breathtaking views to attending a vibrant flamenco dance show. The excitement among us was undeniable. I was bursting with excitement about unveiling the grand surprise I had in store for Janice and Gary. Unbeknownst to me, the events that would unfold threatened to topple my unwavering trust and break the seemingly flawless harmony of our family life. I was on the cusp of an experience that would dramatically alter my view on family loyalty and reveal the startling complexities of deceit. But let's not jump too far ahead. Let me take you back to the moment filled with anticipation and dreams about our trip to Italy. A time when our aspirations were alive with potential and optimism. There I was, in our living room, holding the plane tickets with a beaming smile as I called over to Gary and Janice. Their puzzled looks were a mix of curiosity and surprise. Janice, with her insightful eyes that seemed to carry the wisdom of ages, looked on with interest. "What's this all about, Kayla?" she inquired, a hint of excitement in her voice. With a grand gesture, I presented the plane tickets and outlined the splendid Italian vacation I had meticulously planned for us. I watched their faces closely, eager to see a reflection of the joy and appreciation I felt. Gary's reaction was immediate. His face brightened, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Kayla, you're amazing. This trip sounds incredible." Janice's response was more subdued, but equally heartfelt. "Oh, Kayla, you've gone above and beyond. This is such a generous gift," she said, her warmth enveloping me. At that moment, I was filled with a sense of pride and happiness. Their reactions affirmed the love and thought I had put into planning this surprise. I believed that this vacation would cement our bonds even further, creating memories that would last a lifetime and fortifying connections that already felt indestructible. However, as you may have guessed, our story takes a dark turn. Beneath the veneer of our perfect relationships lurked a complex web of deceit and betrayal, poised to entangle us. The unraveling truth would push the boundaries of forgiveness and challenge the core of what it means to be a family. As we embarked on our journey, boarding the plane to Italy, the air was thick with anticipation. We were set to dive into the vibrant life of its streets, unaware of the challenges that awaited us. Immersing ourselves in the vibrant culture of Italy, the first week of our trip unfolded like a dream. We indulged in the rich flavors of risotto, roamed through historical sites, and let the lively flamenco beats guide our steps into the night. Laughter and a shared sense of joy seemed to confirm that nothing could sever the strong bond we had. Yet, unbeknownst to me, a tempest was gathering strength, ready to strike and unravel the fabric of my happiness. It was a bright Monday morning, with the sun casting a golden glow over the city, and I found myself alone in what should have been a room filled with the presence of my family. Confusion and a sinking feeling of unease took hold as I reached for my phone, desperately trying to contact my husband and Janice, only to be met with silence. Their sudden disappearance was baffling, leaving me to grapple with a whirlwind of emotions and questions. Their phones offered no answers, and a thorough search of our room revealed no clues. No goodbye notes, no packed bags, nothing to suggest a planned departure or any hint of trouble. It was as if I had imagined our shared moments of happiness, now sitting alone in a room meant for a family. Time stretched on painfully as I wrestled with possibilities, each more unsettling than the last. Had they somehow gotten lost, or worse, been taken? The lack of any sign of a struggle or distress, however, quickly dismissed those fears, leaving me with a cold realization. I was abandoned in a foreign country, and the bonds I thought unbreakable now seemingly dissolved. Just as despair began to cloud my thoughts, a ray of hope broke through the gloom. A call from Janice. Mixed emotions overwhelmed me, relief at knowing they were at least safe, confusion over their unexplained departure, and a deep sense of betrayal. With a heart heavy with conflicting feelings, I answered, my voice a blend of worry and incredulity. Janice, where are you? What's going on? I asked, hoping for some understanding, some reason that would make sense of the situation. The response I received, however, was far from the warm, comforting tone I was accustomed to from Janice. Her voice, now edged with a hint of coldness and frustration, was almost unrecognizable. Kayla, I figured I should at least return your calls after you've tried reaching me so many times, she said, her words striking a chill through me. The affectionate, kind-hearted Janice I knew seemed distant, replaced by someone whose actions I couldn't reconcile with the love and respect we once shared. I'm sorry if I bothered you, I started, my voice filled with genuine concern. I just couldn't find you or your things and got worried something bad might have happened. Janice's next words hit me with such a force of indifference that it felt like a physical blow. We left you. Confused and hurt, I pressed for an explanation. But why? What did I do? I couldn't stand another week with you, so we had to leave, she said bluntly. Stunned, I asked, what do you mean? Did I do something to upset you? Yes. How can you not see it? You just decided we were going on this trip, assuming I'd be okay with spending so much time together. I can handle a few hours at family gatherings, but 3 weeks? I couldn't pretend any longer. After 1 week, I was at my limit, Janice explained with a harshness I hadn't known she was capable of. I'm sorry, but Gary and I are headed to the airport now. We just can't be around you any longer, she added, leaving me reeling from the shock. This revelation tore through me, challenging everything I thought I knew about our relationship. How could our seemingly strong bond dissolve so quickly? I was left questioning what I had done to provoke such a reaction, and whether there was any way to mend the rift between us. Feeling a mixture of confusion and sorrow, I tried to express my unawareness of her feelings. Janice, I honestly had no idea you felt this way. And you wouldn't have known. I led you to believe everything was fine, she replied, her tone cold. But why didn't you talk to me about this earlier? We could have worked through whatever issues you had with me. I insisted, still trying to understand the root of the problem. That's just it. I can't specifically say what it is about you that bothers me. You just do, she admitted, sounding almost childish in her inability to articulate her discomfort. I was astounded. That's incredibly vague. Are you upset with me over some vague annoyance? That seems so petty. I thought there was a genuine issue at stake. Our conversation left me in a state of disbelief. Not only was our relationship not as solid as I believed, but the reasons for its breakdown were maddeningly unclear. This unexpected twist in our family dynamics forced me to confront a painful truth. Sometimes, the foundations we build upon are more fragile than we ever imagined. I didn't do anything wrong, did I? I asked, seeking some sort of justification for this bewildering situation. Janice's response was dismissive. It's not about right or wrong. It's how I feel about being around you. You annoy me, and I can't stand it. Confused and hurt, I questioned her decision to join us on the trip. If you felt this way, why agree to come to Italy with us? She was blunt. It was a free trip to Italy. Who would say no to that? But as time went on, I just couldn't deal with you anymore. What did I do that bothered you so much? I pressed, desperate for answers as her vague complaints left me reeling. Janice struggled to pinpoint anything specific, leaving me more frustrated and heartbroken. It was becoming clear that this sudden disdain had no solid foundation. Amidst my shock and sadness, I needed to hear Gary's take on this. "Can I talk to Gary?" I asked, a mixture of hope and dread in my voice. Janice handed him the phone without hesitation, and Gary's tone mirrored his mother's indifference. "Hello?" he began, as if unaware of the gravity of the situation. "Gary? You're leaving me too?" My voice cracked, the betrayal stinging. "I'm leaving because my mom said she needed to go home, not because I don't like you," he tried to explain, but his rationale fell short. "How long have you known about your mom's feelings towards me?" I inquired, searching for some understanding. Gary admitted knowing for a while, but had hoped the trip would bridge the gap between us. His admission only deepened my confusion. "Why didn't anyone talk to me about this before? We're adults. We solve our problems through discussion," I argued. But Gary, like his mother, had no real answers. The silence that followed my speculation about Janice's jealousy confirmed my suspicions. I concluded that the issue wasn't really about me, but about Janice's insecurities or envy. Ending the call, I was left pacing in my hotel room, bewildered and hurt, but also enlightened. Decades of life experience reminded me that sometimes people's issues with you are more about their internal struggles than anything you've done. Jealousy, insecurity, and unresolved personal issues can drive people to irrational dislike or resentment. It was a hard lesson in human nature, one that would take time to fully digest. I never would have guessed that the ones to push me to my limit would be my own family. The sting of betrayal from those closest to me was something I never saw coming. After a moment of deep sadness, a spark of realization hit me. It was time for me to stand up for myself, to take charge of my situation. This was the turning point, a moment that would mark a new chapter in my life. As I dried my tears, a fierce resolve took hold. No longer would I let their cruel actions consume my emotions. It was time for them to understand they couldn't just walk all over me without consequences. With hands still shaking, I called Peter, a lifelong friend who had been with me through every high and low. I confided in him the whole ordeal in Italy, and without hesitation, he offered his unwavering support. "Kayla, you've always been unstoppable. Tell me what you need, and I'll be there," Peter said, his voice a comforting blend of concern and eagerness to help. I had an idea that was both cunning and poetic. "Peter, does your construction company still deal with that annoying excess sawdust?" "Yes, it's a constant bother," he replied, puzzled yet intrigued. "I have the perfect solution for it," I said, revealing my plan to use the sawdust as a symbol of the mess they'd made of our relationship. The idea was to fill Janice's house with it, touching every possible space with a reminder of the turmoil she caused. Peter, ever the adventurous spirit, was immediately on board, amused and impressed by the creativity of the plan. Together, we plotted how we would carry out this unique form of justice. "But how will we get inside before they return?" he wondered. "There's a spare key under the potted plant on the patio. That's our entry," I explained, having thought through every detail. "You've thought of everything." "I underestimated you," he chuckled, admiration in his voice. Determined to not be underestimated or walked over again, I embraced this new resolve. As the plan unfolded and Peter confirmed its execution, I waited eagerly for the inevitable fallout. It wasn't just about revenge, it was a statement that I was not someone to be dismissed lightly. Then, as if on cue, my phone signaled a new message from Peter. The deed was done, and now it was just a matter of time before they discovered the extent of my response. This wasn't just a prank, it was a lesson in respect and the consequences of underestimating the depth of someone's resolve. I couldn't wait to see the outcome of our little act of defiance. Opening the pictures Peter had sent, I was met with an unbelievable sight. Janice's immaculate home was now a scene of chaos, entirely submerged under a blanket of sawdust. It was as if a sandstorm had passed through, leaving a mark of our mischief in every possible space. Laughing over the phone with Peter, I found a moment of joyous release from the betrayal that had weighed on me. It was a strange form of triumph, sharing this victory with a friend who stood by me through such an unconventional response to hurt. "There's a certain satisfaction in naughtiness," Peter remarked, and I couldn't agree more. As time passed, the anticipation of Gary and Janice's reaction grew. I imagined their shock and confusion upon returning to a home transformed by our handiwork. Eventually, Gary's call came, his voice filled with shock and a hint of panic as he described their astonishment at the sawdust-filled house. Listening to him, I couldn't help but feel a twisted sense of satisfaction. My heart reveled in the knowledge that my message had been delivered. Actions have consequences. "Kayla, it's terrible. Mom's beside herself," Gary lamented. Without hesitation, I owned up to my role in their unexpected welcome home. "It serves you right." "How could you just abandon me like that?" I retorted. "Was this you?" Gary's confusion was evident over the phone. Then, Janice's voice cut in, demanding the phone from Gary before accusing me directly. Despite their attempts to pin the blame on me, I coolly deflected, suggesting that perhaps it was time they considered security measures for their home. Janice's complaints about the inconvenience and discomfort caused by the sawdust only prompted me to point out the irony of their situation, given their choice to leave me stranded in Italy. At that moment, despite the chaos, I felt a sense of empowerment. I had sent a clear message. I was not someone to be underestimated or discarded without thought. The fallout of our orchestrated chaos served as a reminder of the strength I had reclaimed in standing up for myself. The question of when I'd return from my vacation lingered in my mind. After all, I had originally planned for 3 weeks, but given the circumstances, I toyed with the idea of staying a bit longer. During a phone call, as Janice lamented the state of her home, Gary couldn't hide his dismay. "Kayla, this is terrible. How could you?" he implored. I couldn't resist playing innocent. "Why would you think I'm involved? I'm just here enjoying the jacuzzi. How could I possibly orchestrate such a thing?" Holding back my laughter was a challenge as they fumbled over their suspicions without any concrete evidence to pin me down. The thrill of having them in such a bewildered state was undeniable. And as I ended the call with Gary, a wave of satisfaction enveloped me. I had flipped the script, making them face the fallout of their own actions. What I did might have been extreme, especially considering Janice's age and the potential health risks posed by the sawdust-filled house. However, I was certain they wouldn't dare stay in such conditions, opting instead for a prolonged hotel stay. Meanwhile, I extended my vacation, savoring the Italian culture and the freedom I had reclaimed. Back home, Gary and Janice faced the challenge of cleaning up the colossal mess, a task that seemed almost Herculean. The prospect of Janice moving in with us, given her aversion to my company, was an ironic twist I couldn't help but find amusing. This situation highlighted a harsh truth. Sometimes people only understand the impact of their actions when faced with direct consequences. This whole ordeal serves as a potent reminder that there are instances when the only way to teach someone a lesson is by letting them experience the consequences of their actions firsthand. If you're ever in a position to serve justice in your unique way, maybe it's not such a bad idea to seize the opportunity. After all, it gives those who have wronged you something tangible to ponder over.